Caitlin Clark is the only woman in basketball to ever sign with Wilson Basketball, and she's the only athlete since Michael Jordan to do so.
If we're comparing a Caitlin Clark signature shoe release to anybody not named Michael Jordan, anybody not named LeBron James, you're being extremely disingenuous.
Basketball enthusiasts, you won't believe what was just dropped and how it looks poised to totally upend Nike's multi-billion-dollar company. We're discussing at the biggest sports company in the world, valued at over $200 billion, has just snagged what everyone is referring to as the next Michael Jordan of women's basketball. And executives at Nike headquarters are actually sweating bullets right now. You're sitting pretty thinking you've got the golden goose that will generate revenue for the next 10 years when Wilson Wilson of all companies just dropped a commercial so flawless and emotionally captivating that it's making Nike's entire marketing team reevaluate their life decisions. Caitlin Clark signed an 8-year, $28 million deal that essentially stole her for pennies compared to her worth.
When you strip away the noise and the bright lights, it's just the game you loved as a kid.
And here's the thing, they did it with basketballs, not shoes, but the impact is going to change everything. Let's give you a glimpse of Nike's current disastrous situation. Over the past few years, the company has completely collapsed. We're talking about a business that has lost over $100 billion in value since 2021. Things got so bad that people were literally calling for their CEO to be fired. And guess what? He had to resign. Meanwhile, Adidas was doing well even after ending their partnership with Yeezy, while Nike was drowning in its own errors. According to data provided by LSG, Nike is predicted to record a revenue decline of 11.5% to $11 billion in the third quarter. This would be the largest decline since the 38% decline Nike experienced in the fourth quarter of fiscal 2020 during the Hill administration pandemic. Nike started an ambitious turnaround, but Morningstar analyst David Schwartz stated that in order to get the sportswear giant back on track for sales growth, it will take years to develop a whole new franchise or family of products that generate billions in sales. Eventually, though, their salvation arrived. We're talking about Caitlin Clark, the generational genius who perhaps once every 10 years was twice as well known in college as Angel Ree. When she went pro, every major brand threw money at her. Under Armour wanted to make her the face of Curry brand, and Adidas was prepared to break the bank, but she stayed with Nike because of how they marketed her in college. Everyone was waiting for the announcement of her signature shoe, the shoe that would change women's basketball forever. But this is where it gets really crazy. While everyone is waiting for Caitlin's shoe, she is 4 times more popular than the most well-known men's player, which is completely unprecedented in college basketball history. When Nike revealed that Ajay Wilson would receive her trademark shoe first, there was a detail that should have infuriated every Nike shareholder. Caitlin's sneaker wouldn't be available in stores until 2026 or even 2027.
People were even speculating that, but today was the Nike quarterly call, putting to rest any rumors that A, this wasn't a done deal, and B, there are renegotiations at the table. Something that this did clear up as well, it's looking like Caitlin Clark's shoe is coming in 2026.
Are you joking? Let me tell you how absurd this is. In 2003, when LeBron James was being courted by all the big brands, Nike was so desperate to get him that they began designing his shoe before he had even signed with them. They used the code Name Air Zoom Nobel LeBron backwards to keep it a secret, and LeBron wore the LeBron ones for his NBA debut, which took 3 months from concept to his feed.
If we're comparing a Caitlin Clark signature shoe release to anybody not named Michael Jordan, anybody not named LeBron James, you're being extremely disingenuous. Extremely disingenuous. We can't compare abnormality to normal behaviors. We can't compare the extreme case, the rarest of the rare case, to an average Joe Schmo walking down the street singing do-a-dee-dee-dee-dum-dee-dee-do. We can't be doing that. We only compare Clark to Jordan, Clark to James, Clark to Tiger, Clark to Gretzky, Clark to Ali. That's it.
Nike changed their time frame from 3 months to 3 years, which means that something is badly wrong and will soon be revealed in the most embarrassing way possible. When Caitlin signed her contract, prominent media ran headlines inquiring, as to why people were upset with her landing a shoe deal. Some fans contended that A.A. Wilson should have received her shoes before Clark, who hadn't even participated in a WNBA game. However, the truth is that business isn't about fairness. Rather, it's about what makes money, and Allen Iverson outsold Tim Duncan in those shoes, even though Duncan was the superior player. Aja Wilson isn't Tim Duncan. She is actively being promoted by Nike through billboards and commercials. This is where things get really awkward because she has made some dubious remarks about white players and their privilege when talking about Paige Buchers. She stated that the player's success was guided by her privilege and that she is obviously good at basketball, almost as an afterthought. Nike tried Tim Duncan's shoes twice and canceled them both times due to poor sales, but Tim Duncan didn't care because he understood business.
Black women, Paige reminds me a lot of you. Like, you say you're not really about me, and she knows how her privilege has gotten her to that point, and also like she's good at basketball, obviously. Like she understands her privilege and like pushes her over the top in a sense. It reminds me a lot of you.
The official reason Caitlin wasn't selected for the Team USA Olympic roster was because Christian Laettner didn't have any NBA experience when he was on the 1992 Olympics Dream Team. However, 20 years later, Caitlin Taurasi was a WNBA rookie when she made the 2004 Olympics team and had similar stats to Clark at the time, but she went on to dominate as a rookie, leading all WNBA rookies in multiple categories, 4th in MVP voting, and single-handedly transforming WNBA viewership hurt games, which averaged over 1 million viewers, while regular WNBA games drew 300,000 tickets. The Washington Mystics had to move to the Wizards Arena to accommodate the crowds attending her games, and she set WNBA attendance records everywhere she played. Even ultimately, Team USA acknowledged that it was a mistake to leave her off the squad, but Nike, they're still holding back from releasing their most marketable athlete because they're too afraid, but everything changed when Wilson released their commercial. And it's not just any commercial. The commercial begins with the lovely message. When you take away the noise and the bright lights, it's just the game you loved as a kid, boom, right in the fields. Nike is paralyzed by politics and afraid to properly market their biggest star, Wilson, who captures the essence of why we fell in love with basketball in the first place. The commercial continues, feed on the hardwood basketball and hand guiding, you inspiring you working on the player you dream to be because the ball will always bring you back to your favorite place. This is a masterclass in emotional storytelling that makes Nike's recent efforts seem like amateur hour. This is brilliant marketing. They're not trying to sell shoes or negotiate cultural politics. They're selling dreams, calm, focused, and confident. Who is the spokesperson for this ideal message of nostalgia and unadulterated passion for the game? Nike is too afraid to adequately market the player Caitlin Clark, yet this is what makes it so disastrous for the company. Consider for a moment that Wilson put Caitlin Clark in the same conversation as Michael Jordan by making her the only female basketball player in history to sign with them and the only athlete to have this kind of relationship with them since Jordan. The final sentence of the ad, Caitlin Always Basketball, is so flawless that it will plague Nike's marketing team for years to come, as the company watches in fear of social media criticism. Wilson simply established themselves as the genuine basketball brand that prioritizes the game over all other considerations, and the basketballs themselves are more than just goods. They are statements. Wilson's staff spent months researching every aspect of Caitlin, including her favorite color, her interests, and what she would do if she weren't a basketball player. They even kept an eye on her social media and wardrobe decisions, treating her like the celebrity she is, while Nike saw her as a political liability. The team started with 50 design concepts and narrowed them down, according to Christopher Rickert, Senior Director of Global Production at Wilson. Sometimes the color or pattern didn't work, and other times what seemed like a great idea on paper didn't quite translate into reality. The commercial debuted alongside a brand new line of basketball that will be released on June 23rd, and the response has been incredible. Basketball fans are praising Wilson for concentrating on the game rather than getting sucked into cultural politics.
This interview, it seems like she's probably going to make more money overseas in EuroLeague than she did during this WNBA season. The commissioner told her that she could make $700,000 playing in the WNBA.
Meanwhile, Wilson is executing the ideal marketing campaign with their athlete using basketballs to communicate the story they're too afraid to tell with shoes, while Nike's quiet about their biggest women's basketball star is growing louder. By the day, when you allow fear to guide your business decisions rather than talent and marketability, this is what occurs. Nike paid $28 million over 8 years to sign Caitlin Clark, which is a great deal for someone who has already demonstrated that she can make a difference unlike any other women's basketball player in history. However, they are so terrified of the possible backlash that they're allowing a basketball company to steal their ideas that it's heartbreaking. Nike's success was based on athletes who revolutionized the sport. Michael Jordan, Woods Tigers. LeBron James. These individuals were not only exceptional athletes, but also cultural icons who revolutionized the way we view sports marketing. Conversely, Wilson sees exactly what Nike has. They're not just producing basketballs with Caitlin Clark, they're making a statement about authenticity, putting the game first and recognizing greatness regardless of what Twitter thinks of it. Yet Nike is too preoccupied with handling internal politics to see the gold mine. And here's the scariest part for Nike. This ad is more than simply effective advertising. The marketing is flawless. It highlights Caitlin Clark's passion for the game, her genuineness, and her capacity to motivate the next generation of gamers while capturing everything that makes her unique and avoiding controversy. The commercial has been viewed millions of times, shared on all social media platforms, and praised by both basketball fans and marketing experts. The production value is amazing, the message is universal, and the emotional impact is undeniable. When you watch it, you don't think about politics or controversy. Instead, you think about why you fell in love with basketball. That's the power of great marketing, and Nike should have been doing that with their biggest women's basketball star instead of sitting on the sidelines while Wilson shows them how it's done. Wilson just demonstrated that everything else falls into place when you focus on the right things: talent, authenticity, and love for the game. This changes everything because it reveals Nike's cowardly strategy, which is to waste the biggest opportunity in women's basketball history in order to appease certain people. In the meantime, Wilson is developing a relationship with a generational talent that could pay dividends for decades. The basketball world is watching and taking notes, and if Nike doesn't properly market their own athlete, other brands will step in and show them how to do it. Wilson just fired the first shot, and it's a perfect bullseye. Nike needs to wake up quickly because Wilson is busy making history while they are busy handling politics. In business, just like in basketball, you either step up or get stepped on. The game has changed, and Wilson has demonstrated that they are better at it than the so-called experts. What do you think of this drop in the comment section below? This is only the beginning, and Nike's worst nightmare is about to come true.